11 week high school football season. Hard to believe, but we are in the, what do they call it, the penultimate week?
Yeah,
Is that
the
it?
penultimate week of the year, the second to last week, and playoffs are on the line here.
Yeah, but the good thing is we know we're going to have a nice crop at playoff teams playing in 2 weeks, so we still got a while to go. And how many teams, we don't know. A lot of that's going to be determined Friday at the game you're going to be at, Spruce Creek and University. It's a de facto play-in wild card game.
Yeah, if either one of these teams that wants to be in the playoffs, this is a must-win game. The way it breaks down right now is 7 through 10 in the region is extremely tight. 1.3 points, roughly, separates 7th from 10th. Right now, Spruce Creek sits in 7th, and they would set up a potential rematch with Flagler Palm Coast, which is
that would be delicious.
Which is incredible. University currently sits in the 10th spot at 34.57 points, but they can play their way in. The good news for University is if they beat Spruce Creek and get a lot of points out of that game, they're going to get Daytona next week, a winnable game, a better opponent than West Orange, who sits in the 9th spot right now. They play a Coe with only 1 win, so they can make up the difference if they win out.
So University, despite, again, kind of having everything laid out in front of them like last year and not being able to get the job done, this new playoff system is going to possibly benefit them if they can get the job done.
And we thought that could happen at the beginning of the year. That district is very tough. Lake Mary, playing Seminole and Lake Mary in the space of 4 days is a grueling, grueling task, and they just looked a step slow against Lake Mary. There's really no other way to say it. Defensively, they just were not able to keep up with them.
Well, 3 games in 7 days is a big ask.
Right. So this is going to give them an opportunity to make up for those errors and play themselves into the field. For Spruce Creek, if they win this game, they get New Smyrna in the last week of the season, so they can very easily see themselves winning the final 2 games and guaranteeing themselves a second straight trip to the playoffs.
Yeah, both teams, despite really heartbreaking losses the past month, everything's still out in front of them for the most part. So again...
all you ask at this time of the year is to control your own destiny. And both of these teams, if they win out, almost assuredly will be in the playoffs.
And it's pretty amazing to think that... one of them is most likely not going to be in the playoffs because either they're 2 of our what we thought coming into the year. It's 2 of our better teams.
Yeah, it's a very deep region. If you look at it, you've got Boone, you've got Winter Park, you've got Wekiva, you've got Popka, you've got Lake Mary, Seminole. This is a 10, 12 team region that is just daunting, and any of those teams can be anyone on a given night.
Now, the game I'm going to be at is a game that in years past, this game has been for a playoff spot, Matanzas and Deltona.
The last 2 years.
Because of the new alignment, new playoff system, Deltona pretty much out of it. But Matanzas, again, kind of like University and Spruce Creek, they had everything out in front of them.
Right. Matanzas is currently in the playoffs. They're right now the 7 seed, and they've got a favorable draw. And by comparison, they would play Palm Bay Heritage in the first round if the season ended today. They would avoid having to go to Miami Northwestern. They would avoid Mainland. Really, you can't ask for a better situation on paper than to go to play Heritage or Dillard. And right now, that's the way it works out. Deltona is not completely out of it, but they are a statistical long shot. They're going to have to beat Matanzas and University really to have a great chance at it. They've scheduled a very tough schedule. They've played well at times of the year. Offensively, they've turned the football over a bit too much, but they can make up for it. If they can beat Matanzas, they can put themselves right back in the conversation. They're going to get the playoff points bonus. They're going to get a potentially Category 2 win out of this, so they would get a lot of they would help themselves a great deal if they were able to win this game.
And it's nothing that they haven't done in the past.
Right.
I mean, I know 2 years ago they did it, and they were nearly. I remember this game. They were nearly a fumble at the end of the game last year from doing the same thing. You were at that game last year. I'm pretty sure Matanzas almost blew it.
An interception in the last 2 minutes.
That's what it was,
Devin Matthews pulled down a pick in the last 2 minutes to seal the victory and put Matanzas in the playoffs for the first time. And I'm sure Deltona would like to spoil their season and keep their own hopes alive. If Deltona wins, everything opens wide up again in that region. Really, everyone's playing for one spot. It looks like Miami Central, Carroll City, and Norland are going to have the other 3 spots pretty firmly.
Now, the other area team we're going to keep a close eye on this week, and one that we don't talk about a lot, but that it's been worth talking about this year, and that's Taylor at 7-1, sitting there again. And one of those teams, if the season ended today, Taylor's in the playoffs.
They sure are. At 37-plus points, they have 7 wins. They're in. Right now, they are the number 4 seed in a very interesting region, 2-3A. They would get in over Trinity Prep and Melbourne Central Catholic as it stands right now. They would need to win their last 2 games, really, I think, to have a great shot at it. Crescent City is their biggest game of the year. It's an opponent they've really struggled with in years past. It's the best team they're going to play on the schedule record-wise. It would be a huge win if they can get this done. Crescent City coming into the week was ranked number 5 in 1A. They're going to fall out of the poll. They lost last week. But still, this is a big test. If they're able to win this game, if they can put a signature win on the schedule, their last game against, I'm trying to think who their last opponent is. It's somebody who doesn't have a winning record. Keystone Heights, that's their last opponent. If they're able to win both of those 2 games, Taylor almost assuredly is in as well.
And that would be really impressive. And for Coach Williams and that whole group at Taylor, they had the 1 loss this year, which was against, who do you remember who was against? But I know that it was close. Who
Wildwood.
Wildwood, it was 16-9 or something.
And Wildwood's undefeated, and they're probably going to take the 5th spot in 1A. So.
Yeah, so Taylor's had a really, really solid year for Taylor. And again, they win, and they can finally get over that Crescent City hump on Friday. They're all but assured, barring a collapse next week, of a playoff spot, which would be really impressive.
They're just more dynamic offensively, I think, than in years past. You've got 4 guys you have to worry about if you're an opposing defense. You've got Vic Ward as a mobile quarterback. You've got Jaquavis Williams, who's run for almost 1,300 yards this year. You've got Jaden Reeves as a dual threat receiver, kick returner, defensive back, and of course as a runner, I think he's over 600 yards this year. And then Daniel Gemeinhardt in the last 2 games has had 2 really big weeks in a row, scoring touchdowns in both games. So yeah, they're a team that you can't just worry about taking away 1 player. Now you've got 4 guys on offense that can hurt you.
The last game of significance, not because of postseason significance, but because of rivalry significance. That's where Godwin Kelly making his triumphant return this week will be. Seabreeze coming off a close loss to Daytona, an impressive loss against Daytona, and then Mainland, which wrapped up the district earlier this week against Pine Ridge.
Yeah, Mainland's already the district champ. They're in. They're going to host a playoff game.
24 straight.
Right now, their projected first-round playoff opponent is Carroll City, the team that won the state championship in 6A last year. They knocked out Mainland in the 3rd round of the playoffs last year. A revenge potentially on the horizon.
That would be intriguing.
We don't know how it's going to play out yet. Matanzas could slip. Carroll City could slip. It can end up a number of different ways. But right now, Mainland is projected to draw Carroll City in the first round of the playoffs.
And they would host that game,
And they would host a game. That's huge for them to be able to have home field advantage in that game. Seabreeze, I think really their last shot at it was to run the table, or at least get the wins against Daytona and to land at the bookend the Mainland game. And that loss last week hurt them. They were very competitive in that game. They were able to move the football. They forced turnovers. Pick 6 really crushed their momentum in that game. But it's been a really impressive year for Seabreeze to be 4-4.
The fact that we're talking about them right now.
in week 10, to have Seabreeze at 500, they've had a very strong season.
You'll be at the University of Spruce Creek game again. That's a de facto playoff game. That's the best part about this point system. I was saying earlier this week. This game last year, while it would have been fun for us in the area, would have meant nothing. But now with this new point system, I know it has its flaws. Spruce Creek University is going to be one of the bigger games in the state of Florida Friday night, and it's because of that point system, because they're not in the same district, but it's so important because of how wins and losses are determined now.
There are as you mentioned, there are flaws to this system, and they'll be pointed out at the end of the year. But the big thing is you do have an opportunity to play yourself in. Even if you don't finish second in your district, you have an opportunity to save yourself and to control your own destiny, and where all 10 games or however many you play are going to matter.
You'll be at that game. All got you covered for Daytona Matanzas. Godwin's going to be at Mainland Seabreeze. That rivalry game. We'll see if maybe we can narrow the margin a little bit.
Brett Borden will be in Pearson for the Crescent City tailgate game.
Could be a fun week, and we got a fun few weeks. This is when the high school football season really starts to heat up. I'm Zach Dean. It's Chris Boyle. We'll see you Friday.